Maddie, what are we doing today?
What?
What are we doing today?
We're gonna go to the cobbler.
To do what?
We have to get my shoes shaved down and your shoes shaved down because they're too chunky.
Yep, so we are breaking in hard shoes for an upcoming show. So we're gonna take you along kind of our process, how we break in a pair of hard shoes. Figured that'd be kind of fun.
Whoa. What's the bag for?
Grocery shopping.
Oh, we're going grocery shopping too?
First on the list, first step, is we have to go to a cobbler. And this is something that's more like, you know, if you're a competitive dancer, it's really not important. This is kind of like an us thing, a preferential thing. Have them use their sander to just bring the front taps down just a little bit, like the smallest amount. Usually when you get a pair of hard shoes the first time, that the fiberglass heels or fiberglass taps are super chunky in the front, which is a little hard to work with right off the gate. So yeah, so we're just gonna sand them down just a little bit to allow us to, you know, use the shoes right off the bat right away. And I have a guy in Chicago I always go to. His name was Tony. He had the smallest little shoe place, but he was so good with it. So we gotta find somebody like that. We gotta find a Tony in New Jersey. Got the shoes.
What are you doing, squirrel? Did you catch you? We got them shaved down and they look like this on the bottom. We taped them where we wanted them to shave it down, so like they wouldn't shave down like too much. So they did it like right to the tape line. So I'm gonna do like a slow-mo one of the tape going.
All right, so I got my shoes on, gotta start breaking them in. I told you earlier in the video I was gonna give a few tips on breaking in your own dance shoes. Specifically hard shoes, but I'm sure this applies to a lot of other dance shoes. Now my first tip, and it's a kind of like a silly, like of course kind of tip, but wear your shoes. Wear them as much as you can. Wear them around the house. Get comfortable in your shoes. But along with that tip, do things that help you wear your shoes more often. One of the big things that keeps us from breaking our shoes is blisters, the feet pain, things like that. You know that always will slow down the process of breaking in shoes. So one of my favorite things ever, Yuka tape. You want to avoid the friction between your skin and the shoe. So if you can put something in between your foot and the shoe, then you avoid the blisters. Now these are good if you have the blister, you want to probably put a Band-Aid or something else on. But these are really good at preventing the blisters. So if you know the trouble spots, for me, it's all along the back of my heel and baby toe and big toe. When I wear my shoes, I'm gonna break them in, and I wanna wear them for an extended period of time. To continue breaking them in further, I make sure I tape all those trouble spots. More preventative than anything. Because once the blisters are there, not too late, but it's just gonna be really annoying. This is a new tip, but I got these, like, I think they're for like hospitals or like doctors' places where you have to like cover your shoes. But you can put these on your feet and you can walk around your house. If you live in a house that's like a hardwood floor or something where you could like scuff the floor just a little bit, you want to avoid that. You want to avoid getting in trouble with your parents or what have you. But I think I got like $10 or something. I got like 100 of these. So put like a few layers, one layer. Our shoes are kind of sharp, so they might cut through. 2 layers, boom, and you're set, you know? Now you're not gonna make those scratches, and it prevents a whole lot of that. So that's gonna allow you to wear the shoes even more around the house, while you're doing your chores, while you're doing X, Y, and Z around the house. So it's not just in your dancing space, but now you're wearing them more on the casual side, and that really goes a long way. I've been trying this out because my apartment has wood floors. I want to keep them nice. And I also don't want to make a whole lot of noise as I'm clip-clopping around because I am in an apartment. It does kind of mitigate some of the sound, which is nice too. So you could probably put even more layers and make absolutely no sound. So that would be good too. Another tip would be to have time when you're not breaking in your shoes, time where you can air out your feet. Give them a little bit of space, a little bit of breathing room after wearing the shoes. Those shoes are tight, and they're meant to be tight around your foot. You want to have perfect control of the shoe in every way, in every direction. So they can't be loose-fitting shoes. They have to be tight. That for so long, you know, squeezing your foot into a shoe that tight can cause some injuries, can cause some problems. And you know, in my 20 plus years of dancing, I've had most of those injuries, and a lot of them has been due to, you know, the tight shoe. So we want to avoid blisters, but we also want to avoid other injuries that can come from wearing a tight shoe that's really tight around your ankle, really tight around your feet, shoving your feet into a tiny little point. So you want to avoid that. So having specific time where you can put your feet up, you can do some exercises, some pointing and flexing exercises, all of those good things when you're not wearing the shoes goes such a long way. Another new thing that I've been starting to do after wearing shoes this tight around my feet, because my feet are more on the wide side, I started wearing these toe spacers during that like designated time where I'm not wearing my hard shoes or not breaking in a shoe or dancing or what have you, either doing emails, relaxing, watching TV. I'll put these guys on my feet and it stretches out, spreads out the feet. Sorry, it spreads out the toes and gives them a little bit of a stretch. Gives them a little bit of relief after wearing these types of shoes for so long. I think that goes such a long way, you know. A lot of injuries we get in Irish dancing, they can be acute. They can be like in the moment, but a lot of them are like overuse, and over the course of time, this type of thing caused an injury after a while. So you want to always avoid that, always be ahead of the game. Your health is your wealth, as I've been told by many a teacher and mentor, and I stand by that completely. So anything you can do to kind of give your feet some relief while you're breaking in the shoes goes a long way. I'd say even just move, you know, beyond that, beyond breaking in shoes. You want to be using things like this. Very side, you know, like not the biggest tip, but these cost like all of no money. Shoe horns. Careful not to just shove your foot out of, you know, into a shoe. Use a shoe horn to get your foot into the shoe nice and properly, so you're not damaging the shoe in any way, damaging the heel part of the shoe in any way. You want that to be, you know, nice and strong all the way through. You know, my boys out there that, you know, the boys soft shoes always use a shoe horn, because those heels are like the first things to slip off you while you're dancing. So you want to make sure that heel is nice and strong. Use a shoe horn. If you don't have a shoe horn, use a hotel room key. Use something to put in to slide your heel in. And then every time you take off your shoe, I know this is like a silly tip, but it's actually it's super important. Every time you're taking off your shoe, make sure you unlace, untie your shoe, undo the strap, and then take the shoe off. Don't just be so quick to throw the shoes off and all of that. You want to, you want to make sure you take the shoes off properly, because throwing off and on the shoe over a course of time will degrade the shoe in all the ways you don't want them to be degraded. And then you'll have to get a new pair of shoes and start the process all over again. So yeah, little things like this go a long way. Shoe horn, and untying your shoes before ripping them off your feet. I think we've hit three tips already, but just kind of going over maybe things I've said in previous videos from years ago. There are other ways to break in shoes, and there's faster ways. Put some hot water in your shoes and then put your feet in, and, you know, wear your shoes in the shower. Put mink oil or baseball mitt stuff and bake your shoe. Like, there's a bunch of different things you can do to soften the leather, to do that process and hopefully do it faster than just wearing your shoes. I can never fully recommend that, just because just with all the different adhesives and things that go into making the shoe, when you start to throw in things like that, more abrasive, aggressive ways to break in the shoe, you may end up stretching the shoe in a way that you don't want it to stretch. You may break the bond of an adhesive that was holding the shoe together, you know, with hot water or any other types of materials. You just want to be really careful with all of that stuff. I've heard people doing things like that and it working out pretty well, but I've also gone through a few pairs of shoes where I, needed to break the shoe in fast in a pinch, and I did this type of method and completely broke the shoe and had to start over again. And the shoes are kind of expensive, so you want to also avoid that a little bit, but you also want to avoid having to break the shoe in again. And so ultimately the best case, or the best way to break in the shoes, is to wear them. Wear them all the time, commit to them, send off your old shoes, put them away, lock and key, and just start anew. It's rough, it's tough. I'm not gonna say it's easy. It's part of the process, part of the joys of being a dancer at the end of the day. But things like we were saying, Yuka tape, wearing them around in less like aggressive situations where you're just walking around the house doing chores, things like that go a long way. Toe spacers in between wearing your shoes, avoiding blisters, being more careful when you're taking on and off the shoe. All of these things, small ticky-tacky things that all add up to a much better process. And there are things that I stand by over the years and years and years I've been dancing, both competitively, performance, all that stuff. So I'm gonna go do some dancing and maybe some filming now. I'm gonna see what Maddie wants to do. I think she was making food. But let me know down in the comments if you have any other questions regarding breaking in shoes or anything really. Let me know. I love answering questions, love starting the conversations in the comments, having the dance chats. And let me know if there's anything else, any other questions you have on dance, or Irish dance in particular, but anything else that you'd love to see a video on, let me know. But for now, I will see you all in the next video. Happy dancing.